I was in the first press bus, about 7 cars behind the presidential car. And we just turned the corner into Dealey Plaza, and I was calculating what I was going to say in a piece I had to do for the NBC Radio News on the Hour. And there was a bang, and we said, what was that? Was that a shot? Was that a backfire? And there was time for us to exchange. And then there were 2 shots close together. Bang, bang. I said, those are shots, stop the bus. And the bus stopped. The bus driver opened the door, I got out, the bus driver closed the door, went on, and it turned the corner down to follow the motorcade. The air was, when I got out, was filled with incredible screaming, so I thought something bad has really happened. And I ran around the corner, and people were lying on the grass, covering their children with their bodies, some on the grassy knoll, as it came to be known. And then I saw policemen running up that, and I thought, well, they've seen some gunmen and they're chasing them, so I ran after them up the hill. Came to the top of the hill, gathered at the fence there at the top, and then a policeman went over the fence, so I went over the fence too. There was nothing there but empty train tracks. And I ran looking for a phone along the top above the grassy knoll and came to the Texas School Book Depository, ran up the steps. A young man in shirt sleeves came out. I said, where's their phone? He said, you better ask inside. I did, of another guy standing inside, pointed to an office, I found a phone. I got onto NBC in about 10 seconds, and I did a bulletin. Shots were fired as President Kennedy's motorcade passed through downtown Dallas. People screamed and lay down in the grass. Police chased an unknown gunman up a grassy hill. It is not known if the shots were directed at the president. Said that twice, signed off. Came outside, a policeman stopped me and identified myself, and as we were talking, a little boy came up and pointed, Mister, I seen a man with a gun right up in the window there. And another person came up and said, yes, I seen a man with a gun up there. At that point, a middle-aged woman came up and said, he wasn't hurt, was he? The policeman said, yes, ma'am, he was hurt bad. And we went over to his motorcycle where the radio speaker was talking about head wound, Parkland Hospital. And I thought, oh my God, I'm supposed to be covering the president and I'm here and he's on his way there. And I heard on the local television that a guy who worked at the book depository had been arrested for shooting a policeman. And I thought, book depository, God, isn't that weird? He could have been coming out when I'm going in. 18 months later, I'm in New York for NBC, and William Manchester, who's finishing his book, The Death of the President, calls and said, he's been over the ground minutely. He'd timed my call, first call to NBC, at 4 minutes after the shots being fired, tied incidentally with the wire service bulletins. And he was convinced that it was Oswald. I'd asked for a phone, and could I remember? And I said I couldn't. I wasn't focused on his face at all. Even though I saw him later that evening in the police station when they brought him back and forth, I didn't remember the face. So Manchester said he was 95% sure, because that night, he said, Oswald was interviewed by the Secret Service, which I hadn't known. And as he left the building, he said a young, blonde, crew-cut Secret Serviceman ran up the steps and asked him for a phone. Well, apparently, no Secret Serviceman did. I was young, blonde, White House press badge, gray suit. And so he mistook, Manchester says unequivocally that Oswald mistook me for a Secret Serviceman.